and this is a question you've heard ad nauseum, and that is about whether the Israeli government can be its own worst enemy from a public relations perspective. But sometimes it's hard to determine if Israel is really any worse or better than any other nation. You know, how much of it is basically hurled our way through enemies and how much of it is really an accurate observation. What do you each think? And if you believe there are things Israel or its allies could do better to help Israel's perceived standing internationally, what would they be?
My belief is that in order to make the kinds of compromises necessary to get out front of the Palestinian strategy of going to the UN, having a large vote in the General Assembly recognizing a Palestinian state and pre-67 borders, that the Israeli government is going to have to come up with a very forthcoming plan. And to do so with the current coalition may be very difficult. So this is something very difficult for any prime minister to do when he's got a stable and supportive coalition. If he can do it with his current coalition, fine. But I think that this is a time, with all the upheavals in the region, with this Palestinian initiative in the UN, with all the new threats that occur, when a unity government is essential. I think bringing Kadima in would broaden the base and hopefully make it easier for the Prime Minister to make the kind of forthcoming peace proposal that is necessary to head off what could be a really catastrophically difficult situation at the UN.
I would agree with Ambassador Eizenstat that the Israeli government would do well to seize the initiative and get ahead of the curve. Should come out with its own peace initiative, not just respond to other people's initiatives. I hope it's not too late now that the Palestinians are embarking on a unilateral path internationally. But while we were trying to get the Palestinians to the negotiating table, and I was personally part of that effort, and we failed, and I have no doubt that our government wants to negotiate with the Palestinians, but we are perceived internationally as naysayers to peace, and I think this really calls for a bold initiative by our own government. If we fail, we fail, but we at least tell ourselves and our kids that we tried. And that's what I would advocate, and I do advocate my government.
I think that no doubt that a unity government would be an asset to go forward for peace. But I'm not sure that at this stage the opposition will join the government for political reasons. I believe that, and I mentioned it before here in several ways, that we need an effort on the Israeli public opinion, actually coming from here, from the States, showing that we have a real ally here that we can count on, and then to ask for compromises. And I think that the public would look at it differently, and I believe that the Prime Minister has the power to move forward. The problem is not with the coalition, but with the public opinion.
It's very important in terms of shaping public opinion to reinforce Avinoam's view that the President directly addressed the Israeli people. He's done so twice with the Muslim world in Turkey and in Cairo. It's very important that he demonstrate, by personally being in Israel, his understanding of the plight that he and his administration and the United States remain an unswerving source of support and strength, and that message also be given to the American Jewish community personally and directly by the President. And when that occurs, it can begin to change opinion.
I would make the point that, in my understanding, the Israeli Prime Minister thinks that if he is to make a leap forward in the peace process and risk his own government, his own coalition, he needs two things. One is to know that there is a receptive partner on the other side, and second, to know that there is an American safety net for him, and he doesn't think either.
No, otherwise is worried, as prime ministers before him were,
Mhm.
that the concessions will be pocketed and become the baseline for the next negotiation.
Right.